Welcome to another special edition of Daily Airline News. I'm Jeffrey Thomas, and of course, we're following the search of MH370 by Ocean Infinity. Again, I'm delighted to say we are joined by UK aerospace engineer Richard Godfrey, who has taken the Whisper technology, worked on it, perfected it to the point of tracking a new location of MH370. Greetings, Richard. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you,
Good.
Jeffrey. I hope you're fine too.
Well, we've had a very crazy day here down in Perth with Armada 7806 setting sail, but setting sail for where? It's been an incredibly crazy day, and Richard's going to tell you all about it.
Yes, we've been following what's been going on both on Armada 7806 AIS satellite tracking system and in the database of the Fremantle Ports Authority. Um, and I can now confirm that Armada 7806 has departed from Fremantle. It departed a little while ago at 8 o'clock UTC or 1600 local time. Um, the question is the destination. The first destination given this morning was Jakarta in Indonesia. And the second destination an hour later was Cape Town in South Africa and arriving on the 21st of March. And that was later updated to the 23rd of February, which can't be possible because we've already got the 6th of March today. And then finally, it was updated to Cape Town, but with an unknown ETA. A bit of playing around with the AIS data there, I think. The Fremantle Port Authority database first put departure today at 7 in the morning, then it moved it back to the 7th of March, then to the 8th of March, and today back to the 1600 on the 6th of March. So my view on what is happening is that Armada 7806 is on its way back to the MH370 search area for an unspecified time up to 17 days in duration. It will take 4 days to reach the search area, arriving sometime late on 10th of March. Uh, then 7806 will have up to 17 days in the search area before having to leave for Cape Town or maybe Port Louis or maybe back to Fremantle. Who knows how the AIS might change in the coming days. Uh, if it's going to Cape Town, as it is currently indicating, it'll take 14 days for the uh, trajectory across from the search area to Cape Town. And we're showing you on the screen the various screenshots of the Armada data from the satellite and from the Fremantle Port Authority.
Yeah, so it was a really crazy day, and we managed to get down there and get some fantastic shots of Armada 7806, as you have seen on your screen. Some good vision, some stills of the vessel underway as it left the complex south of Fremantle, and off it went. So, Richard, we've also had some new evidence and dialogue with the Captain Martin Smith with the information that we revealed the other day about his sighting. Perhaps you can talk the viewers through that.
Yes, we published a preliminary report yesterday, written by Captain Martin Smith and myself. We're still waiting for data from Emirates. The data back in 2014 will have to be pulled out of their archives. There's a bit of a hitch with getting hold of that data because the actual aircraft has meanwhile been scrapped by Emirates back in October 2020, and people are not sure what archive material is still available. Normally, once an aircraft is scrapped, then also the archive is disposed of for that all the data on that particular aircraft. But we're still hopeful that we will have corroborating evidence from Emirates. So far, we have been able to publish an extract from Captain Martin Smith's pilot logbook, which he fills out at the end of every flight. This is something that every pilot does. And we're also contacting the other pilots. There were four pilots on this flight. They worked in two shifts. They have a captain and a co-pilot on one shift, and the other captain and co-pilot rest in the crew bunks on the aircraft, and then they turn around and they do around about 7 hours stint each. The overall flight can take up to around 14 hours altogether. So we're digging into that data. Meanwhile, Captain Martin Smith has observed all of the skeptics and critics that have been on various websites, and he's issued a statement. He issued a public statement yesterday on my website. It's quite a lengthy statement, which we're showing on the screen, but you can, there's a link below to the full text, which you can take a look at if you're interested on my website.
Indeed, and in fact, Captain Byron Bailey, who's another avid MH370 follower, contacted us as well, and he's a former Emirates captain, and he pointed out, in fact, in defence of Captain Martin Smith, that the Emirates pilots are not allowed to go to the media and discuss anything at all. So, Captain Martin Smith, apart from filing the reports he did, was actually not allowed to do anything more than that. That's another dynamic to this particular discussion.
Yeah.
Now,
Meanwhile, Captain Martin Smith has left Emirates and joined another airline. So I think that has allowed him in more recent times to
yeah,
come forward.
exactly. But what Captain Byron Bailey was talking about was the period after the sighting and the years after. But anyway, we've had some viewer questions and comments. Of course, we're getting lots of those, and they're fascinating. And some of those questions are actually answered by other viewers very well. But one of the ones that's come through is, what is the main objective of finding the plane? Richard, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, I think there are several objectives. Number one, for the next of kin and the friends of those lost, uh, to help give them some closure after what is now almost 11 years. Um, Number two, the objective is aviation safety. Uh, as the aviation industry completes an investigation of every incident, then there's an opportunity for recommendations to be made from that investigation for the future. So there are new flight rules or similar upgrades to aircraft performance and systems to ensure that such a tragedy never happens again. And the third objective is to give the flying public, and there are over 10 million of us who get on a plane every day, peace of mind when we're traveling, that we're going to arrive at our destination.
Yes, indeed. Now, this is an interesting one. I love this. Jeff Y, one of our viewers said, Jeff Y's a very knowledgeable source of MH370 says this guy, Richard, that's you, is a conspiracy theorist. Do you want to talk to that particular comment, Richard?
I'm not sure I need to because there were replies from other viewers already to that individual. The first viewer replied, Jeff Wise and knowledgeable do not go together.
Yeah.
And I can concur with that view. And yet another viewer replied, I'm surprised that Jeff Wise hasn't said the plane is on the moon. Completely loopy bloke. Now, I have no information on the mental health of Jeff Wise, but some of his statements would lead you to conclude that he might be a bit loopy.
Yeah. Let's leave that one and move on. Can Richard provide any insight into the seemingly erratic track of MH370 at the time of the reported sighting? Is it a limitation of whisper? And he's referring, of course, to the sighting by the Emirates captain.
Yeah, the track that we have published back in August 2023, I wouldn't describe as erratic. It wasn't a completely chaotic, all over the place track. When you look at the track, it also wasn't a straight line. And of course, everyone who's been on an aircraft going from anywhere to anywhere uh, always assumed they're flying in a straight line. So people think of aircraft flying in straight lines. They actually fly from waypoint to waypoint. Uh, and they choose a path which sometimes diverts to avoid bad weather. So not every flight path is actually a straight line. And in Whisper, the conclusion we came to looking at the different turns and climbs that we observed MH370 had performed was that the pilot was actually flying all of the time towards a waypoint, but not along a flight route between waypoints. He was crossing the flight routes, going to waypoints further south in the Indian Ocean, and he was changing his course towards those waypoints all the time. And I think one reason he might have done that was A, to make it difficult to calculate where he would have finally reached at fuel exhaustion. And secondly, to make it difficult if he was sighted by another aircraft and they reported his position and direction, that every time ATC got a report, it would be from a different location, but also a different direction. And
Mm.
it would then be confusing and to cover his tracks.
Another supplementary question is also, is there a reason that Whisper couldn't identify this or other planes to which MH370 might have come close to?
Um, in our August 2023 report, we do identify other traffic. It was, of course, easy to do so in the initial part of the flight because uh, all of the ADS-B data is available for that region and that time, and there were a large number of other aircraft which came close to MH370. When you're out of range of radar and ADS-B data in the middle of the Indian Ocean, we still identified a very few other aircraft. There are only a few possibilities. For example, we identified a Singapore Airlines flight from Singapore to Johannesburg, SQ 478, that crossed relatively close to the path. We didn't pick up EK 407 at that time because when we did the report and were checking for other aircraft, uh, we didn't find it immediately, uh, and we didn't know that the plane was delayed an hour and 22 minutes at departure. Um,
Mm.
when we found out the delay of an hour and 22 minutes sometime later, then it all clicked and fitted into place. And when Captain Martin Smith came along saying he had this observation of an unidentified aircraft crossing his path, we put two and two together and joined the dots.
Indeed. The final question was, first of all, thanking you for your diligent efforts, but then talks about whispers the erratic path of MH370 and an assumption that the transmission's reflection off the ionosphere may have an impact on that.
Yeah. Um, Again, I would not use the word erratic, but I understand what the viewer is driving at with the question. It is quite correct that the ionosphere is a quite dynamic and sometimes even turbulent environment. Depends on how the radiation from the sun and if there's any solar storms taking place, because that will affect the ionosphere. The the ionosphere is not a perfect mirror, um, so to speak, of radio waves that travel between the ionosphere and the Earth's surface.
Mm.
So, in ionospheric propagation terms, we talk about tilts. There are both tilts in the ionosphere and tilts on the surface of the ground or the ocean on these multi-hop propagations. And the way in which we resolve this problem, the Whisper protocol is a digital protocol, and it lasts for 110.6 seconds. So it actually integrates the received signal over quite a long time, 110.6 seconds. The scientists talk about the coherent time frame of the ionosphere, and that's when things are generally speaking stable, and it lasts for about 80 seconds maximum. So if you have a disturbance at 1 second, and then maybe 10 seconds later or 50 seconds later, those get ironed out in this integration over 110.6 seconds. So we avoid then these odd tilts or deflections that might happen. And we're able then to trace the ray all the way. There are multiple rays from any transmitter to the receiver that may have interacted with the aircraft, and the Great Circle path aligns with the aircraft position to within zero point 0.5 of a degree. So yes, there's a little bit of deviation, but again, we can calculate that and rule out any erratic path due to the dynamic of the ionosphere.
Well, there you go. Uh, you explained it better than I could. Thank
Well,
you, Richard.
you can try next time if you want.
Well, yes, yeah, yeah. No, I think I'll pass on that one. So, thank you for joining us today. Thank you again, Richard, for your insights and your research. Tomorrow, we hope to bring you some clarity or a little bit more clarity on exactly where Armada 7806 is headed. And also look forward to answering more of your questions. So please do subscribe to us. Please like us, and please do keep those questions coming. And we love the robust debate between you all. It's fascinating and also illuminating. So thank you again, Richard.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.